Hi, and welcome to a bonus mini episode of the Add Water and Stir podcast. I'm ABM from the blog adoptiveblackmom.com, and I'm the mother of Hope, 14 years old.
And I'm Mimi from the blog Mimi Robinson Online, and I'm the adoptive mother of 4-year-old Nana.
So we're going to skip all of the extra formality stuff today because we just wanted to do a quick mini show. But both Mimi and I have found ourselves having to fill out lots of paperwork lately that asks for medical histories and medical information for our daughters, both family and personal. And we were texting about it a little bit earlier today and felt like we felt some kind of way about it. So we wanted to do a mini episode exploring our feelings on this topic. So what were you thinking when you sent me that text message?
I'm filling out a medical format for us to start therapy. And that's a little bit scary too, because my child is young. It's been hard to find a therapist. But filling out the history piece of asking about her parents, have any of them been identified as having any mental histories, what medical histories they have. It's just challenging because all I can put is NA. I don't know. And it's hard for me because maybe there are issues that we can treat now or address now, and I can't write anything about it. So what about you? What you've been going through a lot too.
I've been going through a lot. We've had a lot of paperwork. I think I may have mentioned that Hope is undergoing some of the educational neurobehavioral testing. And there were a lot of assessment forms that asked about her medical history, mental health, educational history, all kinds of stuff, and then that of her family. And I filled out a 7-page form yesterday, and I probably filled out 3 pages.
Because of history of what she's gone through.
I skipped 4 pages because I just didn't even, there were some things that I just couldn't answer. I didn't have answers for, and the things that I did have answers for, to your point, just brought up just bad feelings of things that she has endured. And I felt awful. I was like, I can't answer important questions, and the questions that I can answer have awful answers.
Yeah, one of the questions was asked me about how many homes she's been in before she came to us. And I went through back. So when you adopt a child, especially if you adopt a child from foster care, you usually get this packet of paper that describes their history. So it shows you all the reports that have been made against your child. It gives you the background information. If people have done a good job of keeping track of it, sometimes you don't get a full file. And so what I did today was go back through that file, and it was traumatic, really looking at what happened to her, what's happened in her short life, because she came to us at 2, and then how many places she lived before she got to us. And even that just kind of sparked something within me, and I'm worried. I just think about, this is going to be her story. This is the story that she's going to have to tell when she gets older, and I'm sad about that. And I mean, that's part of adoption, but man, I'm sad about it for her too.
Yeah, I mean, it gets to this issue that sometimes there are pieces of adoption that are just constantly reminders of loss. And Hope is older. I adopted her at 12, and there were things that aren't in the disclosures that, I couldn't tell from the disclosure records how many homes she had been in, and I didn't learn until we did the podcast last November that she had been in 7 homes. And so, it's hard because there is this kind of trauma of imagining their trauma.
Right.
And it sucks.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the other thing I want to point out is that people think that even though your child is young, that they don't, at least my child is young, that they don't remember that things. And the reason why we are signing up for therapy is because I can see behaviors in her that tell me that even if her mind doesn't remember, and even if she can't articulate those things, her body remembers, and it reacts in certain ways to different stimuli. And we need to address it now before it becomes a bigger issue later. But part of that, and every time we move and every time we find a new doctor, we have to go through the part of filling out the forms. And this is just one of the things, like you just said, the things that come along with adoption. And we try to be real with y'all on the podcast. And this is another thing that's just hitting us really hard right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you feel some kind of way about paperwork and filling out paperwork, and this is like, oh my goodness, and we know that you feel some kind of way about filling out paperwork before adoption, but we'd love to hear from you. You can drop us a line here. You can drop us a line on our Facebook page. Mimi will tell you all of the places that you can find us, but definitely sound off and tell us what it feels like to fill out paperwork about your child's history, and the fact that you may not really know much about their medical history or their family history as well.
And then what are your thoughts on reforms? Maybe this is something that we need to push harder for, because as our children get older, they're going to have the same questions, or there's things that we need to be working with our local child protective services, especially as children travel between different state lines. How can we get as much information as possible, not just for us as the parents, but for our children, because they're going to grow up and eventually be adults that will have to leave blank lines on their form, medical and mental health history forms too. So you can reach us at many, many different places, but you can find us. You can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. We love to engage with y'all, so you can find us on Facebook. Like ABM said, you can email us at feedback@awaspod.com or tweet us at awaspod. You can also find me on my Facebook page, Malika Robinson, or you can find me at my blog, MimiRobinsonOnline.com. And what about you, ABM? Where can they find you?
You can find me on the blog at AdoptiveBlackMom.com or on Facebook at Adoptive Black Mom as well.
And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.